we got some rather unfortunate news, and you can kind of use the word mysterious, basically. But really, what happened? They need to find out the full truth of the story, because I don't think the full truth of the story has came out yet, because it's a very shaky story. So, New York Rangers star Artemi Panarin will be taking a leave from the team after assault allegations. So, bear with me, because this is kind of complicated to, like, to understand or to follow up on. It could be, so just bear with me. So, Artemi Panarin's former KHL coach Andrei Nazarov said that in 2011, Artemi Panarin hit a woman, an 18-year-old woman, and sent her to the ground. And they said there were some powerful blows that were swung by Artemi. And he said this in an ESPN interview, and this translation, because he was doing a Russian ESPN interview, so the translation was from the translator that the ESPN that is employed by ESPN. So usually, not usually, but some very rare occasions, actually, you'll get the translator and they'll like either lie or they'll miss they'll miss say something. I don't think that's happened here, because I expect ESPN to hire the best people for the job, and I think that the translator probably got the right translation out of it. So we're just gonna right now these are coming from the words of the coach, unless something else comes out, but most likely it won't. So this is coming from his former coach, and the Rangers made a statement. So in the Rangers statement, they said, and I quote, Artemi denies basically vocally, because the words here, they're just like, I never even like heard these words in my life, vehemently and unequivocally, whatever that means. But basically, he denies any and all allegations in this fabricated story. This is clearly an intimidation tactic being used against him for being outspoken in recent political events. Artemi is obviously shaken and concerned and will take some time away from the team. The Rangers fully support Artemi and will work with him to identify the source of these unfounded allegations. Yeah, and actually his coach played 571 games in the NHL. And they said a criminal case against Panarin was open in Latvia until somebody paid a 40,000 euro. So somebody paid 40,000 euros in cash to stop the case. And they're saying they don't know. It's like unknown who paid for them. But yeah, Nate, honestly, you hate to hear about it. And Artemi Panarin has been very vocal about, certain politics in Russia. He's very he has supported the opposition for Russia and Alexei Navalny, which, in case people in case you don't follow up on politics, Vladimir Putin is a very respected politician in Russia by the Russia community. Obviously, a lot of people have it. A lot of us in the country have our own views towards him, but a lot of people in Russia have a lot of support for him, especially celebrities. Like I know Alec Ovechkin does, and there's a lot of other celebrities who do have good relationships with Vladimir Putin. But this guy is supporting the opposition and Alexei Navalny, so that really could rub people off the wrong way. Let me start off with this first thing, okay? So these are allegations. So I'm not saying it's true or it's not true, okay? So we're gonna go through both views. I'm gonna go through both views, okay? I'm gonna go with the not true view, okay? The reason why I think personally this is not true, okay? The reason why I don't think it's true is because don't you think you would have said something? Don't you think you would have said something earlier than 2011? You're waiting until 2021 to say something that happened in 2011. So right there is there's the first red flag, right? You're waiting 10 years to say something, right? That's number one. Number two, the reason why I don't believe this is true is because this man has no evidence to support his claim. None. Well, you say you punched the person. Is there any witnesses? No. Okay. You said it was paid off, but you're unknown, but nobody knows who. Do you have any witnesses through that? No. So where's your evidence? You don't really have any. Okay, so that's why I believe this is not true. If it is true, okay, I'm gonna give the side for if it is true. If it is true, okay, look, it's just messed up. And I want to say that if it was true, Artemi Panarin is a changed man in 2021. That happened 10 years ago. In 10 years, you could really change yourself. People can change, Nate. Okay, you understand what I'm saying, right? People can change. You make mistakes, you can change. So 10 years from now, I want to say Artemi Panarin would be a changed man if these events happened, if they happened. Obviously, if it had happened, Artemi Panarin might pay for it, now. Like maybe by the NHL it'd be a fine because we've seen obviously domestic abuse cases in like sports regarding like a lot of athletes, like the Ray Rice cases. Kareem Hunt had a case, Tyreek Hill. I'm naming a lot of NFL players. We did one earlier this year. I'm forgetting who it was.
Omar Vizquel had a case
That's
a
the
couple
guy I'm
months
thinking
ago.
of. This Omar Vizquel, right? He did. Um,
Johnny Damon as a oh wait no, never mind, that's a DUI case. Never mind.
yeah, Johnny Name is a DUI case, but there has been basically the point here is there has been incidents, in which like Chapman, Aronis Chapman had
Yeah,
one of
yeah, he beat his wife or something like that.
yeah, like so there was a domestic abuse case with him and his wife, so it has happened. They have paid for it. So like if there are
Oh,
evidence,
Domingo Herman too.
yeah, that's a yeah, right. So I think we named enough, but like they end up paying for it. So like if it is true and they come out with evidence, I expect Artemi Panarin to pay like a hefty fine, or even pay a suspension, get a suspension if it is true. The reason why I don't think it's true, Nate, is because there's nothing here to say that it is true. It's hearsay, I could say, hey, Nate did this to somebody, right? It doesn't mean it's true. And not only that, if you're gonna ask me, well, how do you know? Where's my? Well, I seen it happen. Do you have any evidence? No. So like honestly, you can't take any actions right now because you don't have any evidence, But when allegations like these are being made, I think it's always important to kind of go through an investigation with it. It's always important because honestly these could be because a criminal case that you do it could affect someone else, right? So if you end up like suppose like I don't know, I'm trying to think, Nate. What you end up you end up beating me up, right? And I'm end up like I'm a mess on the ground, right? And I say like, look, I got beat up by Nate, right? I would want the police to at least go through the investigation. If I didn't have any evidence, go through an investigation for me. You understand what I'm saying? Don't because I don't believe it's true that Artemi Panarin did this, but I still want an investigation to happen so that you're 100% sure of what happened. You understand me? Which is why I think that's the way justice is made in this country. You go through an investigation, you get the proper amount of undeniable evidence to prove that the man did or the person did or did not do it, and then from there you can end up going forward with it. But there's no evidence right now. But I do want an investigation to happen because if he did punch an 18-year-old woman, I kind of want that the 18-year-old woman probably wants justice. When a murder happens and somebody kills somebody else's relative, they want justice being served. They don't want they don't want it swept under the rug. They want justice to be served, which is why I think it's important to go through an investigation. So I think the Rangers are going through an investigation to prove that Artemi Panarin didn't do this or to find the source of it. But I want like at least like the I don't even know who would go through this investigation. The Russian government, maybe the U.S. government. I couldn't tell you. I'd want somebody, but I would want like professionals to go under the investigation to kind of find out what happened, so they can actually have evidence that this has happened. You understand what I'm saying? So maybe find out who the 18-year-old woman is and talk to her about it. That might be a start. If she says it happened, and go through people who might have been there or maybe teammates and ask them. Get like more witnesses involved. And obviously that's not full clear evidence, so you got to go through more. So just try to find some evidence, try to find evidence that it did happen or it did not happen, right? And that's it. So with that being said, I can't really say like best of if he did not do it, if he did not do it and he had no involvement in doing it, because we can't tell you because we weren't there that day. So if he had no involvement of doing it, I wish Artemi Panarin the best of luck. If he did, then I hope justice for that 18-year-old woman was served, right? Because we don't know. All I'm asking is that whoever is that they go through an investigation and they find the truth. That's it. So with that being said, I think I've said everything I need to say, and I'll pass it on to you, Nate.
Yeah, I don't really think there's much for me to say other than the fact that I personally I don't think he did it either for the same reasons as you, but I'll kind of go into a little bit more depth as to why I think that. Going into the evidence part, man, a lot of people are probably going to sit up here and be like, not the evidence part, the allegation part itself. I'll get to the evidence part in just a second, but let me get to the allegation part of this as a whole. Now, a lot of people are going to be sitting up here and be like, "Oh, there's a personal trauma that being that, like, some people get raped and holds a personal trauma. And you're absolutely right. Some people do hold that trauma for years before they say anything about it because they're just scared of opening up to the public. And I understand that. But here's the difference between that and this. That person being raped, they're traumatized. This person that's speaking out about it was a witness, or if I'm getting that right, he was a witness
Right.
of it, right?
Right. Yeah.
So there's no, so to me, from when I think about it, from a witness versus an actual victim, there's no actual trauma from a witness in comparison to a victim. We could have, if this really happened, why are you waiting this long? See, if you got raped, I understand that, or whatever else happened. If you were involved in, like, I don't know, like an accident or whatever, like, that's understandable for
Right.
you to wait that long to speak out about it. But if you're a witness, that's personally how I compare it. You feel me? That's why I don't believe it.
Right. Which
Um,
is why I feel the investigation part is so important to go
yeah,
find
right,
and
right,
talk to her because hey, it could be closed out by even talking to the woman and she's like that never happened to me in my life. It could be
right,
closed or it could continue by saying, yeah, he did actually do that to me. And then you talk to the teammates and everything like that and you get like a bunch of like testimonies on it. So it
right,
could happen. So I'll let you continue, Nate.
right. And some people are probably gonna, when I say that now, some people are probably gonna be like, oh, well, the woman hasn't said anything about it, and you're absolutely right. Nothing in here says anything about that woman whatsoever. I'm scrolling through it or whatever. There's nothing about that woman. But you don't know that. Maybe it did happen. She still holds that trauma, or maybe it didn't happen. Again, this is just another fake allegation or whatever it could be. We don't know what this is. But as for the evidence part, that's a big thing, man. If you're gonna
Right.
accuse someone of something, if you're gonna accuse, I'm gonna put the record out here right now. Words are not evidence. Get the difference between words and actual pieces of evidence, people. I don't look. I'm not saying that what you're telling me did happen or didn't happen. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if something happened, right? How am I supposed to know that you're actually telling the truth, or you're just telling me that happened because you want to get back at somebody? How do I know that?
Right,
You
and
feel me?
even that part, like you just said, like going back at somebody, they clearly said he could. They said clearly in that article he has shown support for the opposition of Vladimir Putin.
Right.
That could be obviously a motive to be
To
saying
get
that.
back at him, right?
Right. I'm not saying it is or not. I'm not saying this story is not true or it is. Well, that's not what neither one of us are saying. But there needs to be some type of evidence behind your allegations or your accusations, or else if there isn't, like you need to have some evidence. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You need to have something. You can't just say, "Oh, well, he did this." As much as you want it, like they gotta at least go have them go through an investigation to prove it. You know.
Right.
Now, again, Artemi Panarin says he has denied this. Could that be a lie? Yeah, it could be a lie. Could it be the truth? Yes, it could be the truth, but we don't know because nobody's going through an investigation to prove any of it.
Right.
So, like, until you go through that investigation, okay, Artemi Panarin's name it doesn't help anybody until you go through that investigation. Artemi Panarin's name is not cleared, and you guys don't get your justice that you deserve if there's no investigation happening. So go through an investigation to prove or to prove that it did or did not happen. It's as simple as that.
Right. That's why it's hard for me to believe a lot of these allegations of all these things, because, like, if there's no evidence, I ain't seen one video of what's going on here at all, or one photo or whatever. I think
Right.
this is the first I'm actually hearing of it.
Right. Get something, medical
Yeah.
reports,
Yeah. Anything.
something.
But
But
yeah,
right.
with that said, I mean, if this didn't happen, which truthfully I don't think it did, I do wish our team put Paneri the best of luck. As for if it did happen, I hope he's learned his lesson. Obviously, he has. This allegation was from 10 years ago. So we don't know exactly, if it's true or false. But with that said, I wish everybody in this situation the best of luck.